Hi guys, welcome to the Wrestling Retrospective. I'm Leo, and in this video I'll be doing my review of AEW Forbidden Door. So first up on the card we had the 0 Hour, and we had 5 matches on the 0 Hour, which I think is ridiculous. But starting off we had Kyle Fletcher defeating Serpentico in what was basically a squash match. Serpentico could get a couple licks in, but it was all Kyle Fletcher, and he looked really good just in victory, I guess. Like, you know, in his squash match, whoever wins always looks good in a squash match. Fletcher seems to be doing this storyline where he hates masked wrestlers because he lost his Ring of Honor Television Championship in CMML, which makes sense. But I think overall sense, Kyle Fletcher just looks really good as part of the Don Callis family. I think he fits in very well. I wonder what's going to happen with him once Ospreay kind of separates himself from the Don Callis family. But yeah, I think just as a impromptu, or what felt like an impromptu match, it was really good. Made Fletcher look good as well, and yeah, just basically, as I said, it was a squash match, so it kind of, you know, it's pretty self-explanatory to the fact that Kyle Fletcher just looked incredible in a very short amount of time. Following that, we had the House of Black defeat Private Party, Tomohiro Hideshi and Kyle O'Reilly as a team, and then this team of Roderick Strong and Gabe Kidd. This was action-packed. It was what felt quite short, but the match broke down very quickly. They did this stupid thing that they do in WWE where they had 2 people starting the ring, even though it was a fatal 4-way match. So why not have 1 person from each team starting the ring? I don't know. I don't know why this is a thing and who came up with it, but they need to do one because it is a stupid rule. But the whole thing fell apart eventually, and then we had the just brawl of everyone hitting massive moves on the outside and the inside of the ring. But overall, the House of Black getting the win, I think, was the better decision. They need to start building momentum back up again, as I feel like they just get fucked on all the time. And they need to obviously build them back up now that kind of they had lost the feud with Edge. I mean, Adam Copeland, which was annoying because I felt like, you know, with Edge getting, oh my god, Adam Copeland breaking his leg, like I probably could have got the win on a, they could have just called it during the match, but they didn't. But yeah, I mean, do that, as long as they're building it back up again, and well, building the House of Black back up again. I thought that Ishii and Riley were really good as a team. It seems like they're going to be part of this Orange Cassidy put together team for no reason, which wouldn't shock me if they were feuding with someone come all in for Stadium Stampede. Gabe Kidd and Roderick Strong seem to have issues, but not have issues, but do have issues, which is interesting. But I expected a bigger showing from Gabe Kidd as far as just being on the card. I think having him in a tag match on the pre-show probably wasn't the best idea, as Gabe Kidd is like one of the better members of the Bullet Club currently. I'm surprised that we didn't see David Finlay either, but yeah, Private Party were just there. They seem to be doing stuff during the in the mid card of the tag division, which was alright. But as I said, it was an action-packed match. But House of Black getting the win was the right decision, just as far as building up momentum again for them as a team. After that, we had another tag team match with Willow Nightingale teaming up with Tam Nakano and defeating Chris Statlander and Momo Watanabe, in which was a very good tag team match. I thought that Chris and Momo had really good chemistry compared to Willow and Tam. I thought that just as a team, they were fluid, wrestling more often as if they tied together before, which I don't believe they have, or not as long as I'm aware. They didn't really mention it on commentary. But I feel like this result is now the omen of what's going to happen on Dynamite Beach Break this week, because Willow got the win at the pay-per-view. Statlander's going to get the win on Dynamite and progress in the Owen Hart tournament, which I think makes perfect sense. I think for me, as I'll talk about in a minute, I have Mariah May to win the tournament, so having a heel Chris Statlander facing a babyface Mariah May in the final makes perfect sense to me, so why not go that way? So yeah, all this made sense for me as far as results and omens and all that stuff go. But the match itself was really good, probably one of the better matches of the pre-show. I'd definitely go check it out if you think, because it's on YouTube, because it was part of the pre-show. So, but yeah, very good tag team match for the women, good showing from both teams, and like as far as first time seeing these 2 lasses from Stardom, I thought they looked really cool. So yeah, all positives all around for me from this tag team match. Following that, we had the first round match of the women's Owen Hart tournament, where Mariah May defeated Saraya in what was a very evenly contested match, and a lot better than the match they had on Dynamite a few weeks ago with Saraya getting the win. But this time Mariah May got her win back and will progress into the next round of the tournament, where she will face Shida, which I think will be a great match. I thought Saraya was getting better in the ring, just compared to like when she was women's champion, and it just felt very stiff and very not great. But this was really good from both of them. Like I thought, it was a lot more evenly contested with Mariah May being in control of the match for the first half, and then Saraya taking control for the second half, and then it kind of all came together and Mariah May got the win. I did think at one point after what I know is the page turner, but I can't remember what it's called in AEW, I thought Saraya had the win, but luckily for me, anyway, she didn't. But yeah, I think for me, Mariah May is definitely favourite to win this tournament. I feel like the story between her and Toni Storm going into Wembley would be a really good one, just because I feel like they would be like, oh, it's just friendly competition, and then eventually it'll break down and like Toni will trust Mariah less until then they'll probably just have a banger match at Wembley, which I think is really cool. And of course, with Mariah May being from London, it's like a really good fit for All In to kind of see this story all come to a head, if you will. But yeah, I said overall the match was really good. Again, one of the better matches. Probably not as good as the tag match, but still good from both. Very evenly contested, a lot better than the match on Dynamite, as Mariah May continues through to the Owen Hart Tournament semi-finals. And the final match at 0 Hour saw the Lucha Brothers team up with Mystico to take on the, I can't say it full, so I'm just going to say LIJ, sorry, my apologies. But yeah, I thought this was a really good match and probably the best match of the 0 Hour. The Lucha Brothers are honestly one of my favourite tag teams, and it's a shame that they kind of got relegated to Rampage for a while as like the kind of lucha show of AEW. But yeah, I thought they were fucking awesome in this match. Titan and Phoenix need to have a one-on-one match on AEW television, because their wrestling was so fluid and just everything about it was so good. Penta being the kind of big hitter in this match, I thought was really cool, a kind of different dynamic from what we kind of see from Penta in these tag matches. But for me, I feel like I should probably watch more AAA and CMML, because Lucha, I feel like Rey Mysterio has ruined Lucha Libre stuff for people who watch WWE all the time, because he like always does the same stuff. Whereas like Penta and Phoenix and Titan in this match and Bandido are all like so different compared to Rey Mysterio that like it honestly is so cool to see, and it's like such a different way of doing something. I just saw the match and it was just so good that like honestly Lucha Libre I feel like in myself is so underrated. Like I know as a thing itself it isn't, but for me I just barely watch it because of Rey Mysterio is a bastard pretty much. That's why I avoid it. But this match was really good and probably the best match of the 0 Hour. Again, definitely go check it out if you can. But yeah, you got Mystico and the Lucha Brothers getting the win here, which I think is good, but I just worry that the Lucha Brothers are going to get lost in the shuffle of the tag division again just straight after this. So the first match on the main show, we saw MJF defeat Hechicero in what was a good babyface start to the pay-per-view. MJF was never losing this match, so it kind of went how I expected it, but Hechicero looked really good in defeat. I thought this was very evenly matched and kind of better than I assumed it would be. Like I wasn't expecting a complete squash match, but MJF was doing his usual heel face stuff. But yeah, then it all kind of broke down a bit. They all got a lot of licks in. But as I said, it was kind of what took away was the fact that it's in MJF's hometown. He was never losing this match. Hopefully Max's shoulder's all good. I mean, I know you were struggling with it at the end of the match, but I don't think it's going to be a massive issue. But yeah, as I said, because it was predictable, it kind of took away from the match in a way that like we knew MJF was going to win. Therefore, it wasn't like going to be massively like good in a way that like we don't know what's going to happen. Therefore, it adds to the match. But yeah, as I said, it was a good way to start the pay-per-view. Babyface pop from the crowd. Everyone loves MJF at the minute, and you can fully understand why. I think they'll love him probably forever now. But so yeah, Hechicero looked good, but MJF was clearly getting the win here, so there's not really much else to say about that. After that, we had the Elite defeat the Acclaimed and Tanahashi, which, to be fair, it was a bong standard 6-man tag team match. I liked the comedy elements to it, and then once it got serious, it was really good as well. But for me, I saw this as a bad omen for the Young Bucks, as I assume that the Acclaimed will get their tag team match that they've earned at All In. I don't think they'll do it before. I feel like it's kind of a really good story to have going into All In and like defending the tag titles, though it's been forever since the Young Bucks have actually defended those titles. But as I said, for me, I don't know why, it really wasn't anything special to write home about. It was just a box standard 6-man tag. All of them got their licks in, all of them had good moments, and it was a good match, don't get me wrong. It was just like, it wasn't good, it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad either. It was just fine, and that's kind of like the way I took it. And like, I haven't really got much else to say about that. It's just the fact that it was a match, it happened, the Young Bucks got their win back over the Acclaimed, and I expect that the tag team match will kind of see the end of this feud for now, and they'll move on. Both teams will move on to bigger and better things. Following that, we had Bryan Danielson defeat Shingo Takagi in the first round of the Owen Hart tournament for the men, and this was a great match. I thought that Danielson was out of it by the time that Shingo hit the Made in Japan or Big in Japan. I can't remember if it was Made in Japan or Big in Japan. Either way, yeah, I thought this was a great match. I haven't seen much of Shingo Takagi other than on the Forbidden Door pay-per-views, and I think the last time I watched a Shingo Takagi match was Battle in the Valley back in February when he faced Moxley in that brutal no disqualification match those two had. But yeah, I thought this is a kind of different kind of finish as far as Danielson goes, as far as the submission. Obviously, he didn't just go for the Rebel Lock, he went with something else instead. I can't remember exactly what he did, and I probably should have written it down. But, oh well. Nigel McGuinness is such a treasure to us when Danielson's in the ring. He's just so funny to have him commentary, as he fucking hates Danielson so much. And as much as I would like to see Nigel versus Danielson, I can't see them doing it anytime soon, as I have Danielson to win the Owen Hart, and it's clearly going to happen at Wembley at some point, or at least at a UK event. But yeah, this match means that we're going to get Pac versus Danielson in the next round of the Owen Hart Cup, which I am fully up for on Wednesday. I feel like it's going to be an absolutely classic between the two of them. And yeah, other than that, yeah, the match was great. Probably one of the better matches of the show, but not quite match of the night. And yeah, I look forward to seeing Danielson and Pac on Wednesday. After that, we had Toni Storm successfully defend the AEW Women's World Championship against Mina Shirakawa in what was, in my opinion, probably a close second on match of the night. I really loved this match, even though it kind of felt like Toni Storm stole this match and Mina had like the majority of the match in control. But that kind of seems like how Toni Storm title defenses go. Like Gianna Perrazzo had most of the control in the match at Revolution. Serena Deeb had was it Revolution or was it Dynasty? I can't remember. Whenever Gianna Perrazzo and Toni Storm had their match, Gianna Perrazzo had control for the most part. Same with Serena Deeb at Double or Nothing. Same here with Mina Shirakawa at Forbidden Door. But it worked really well. It felt like the title was genuinely in jeopardy at points. I thought Toni was out at times when Mina was hitting her finishes. Again, I can't remember the name of the move. But yeah, I thought the embrace at the end was really nice. I know it's going to be memed to death, but I thought it was a really good way of finishing this story off. Instead of just having Mariah choose one of them, it kind of came down to, well, the roles are going to get along now, which I think makes perfect sense. And yeah, I thought what was really good about this is the fact that compared to other times where the opponent of Toni has controlled the match and the title hasn't felt in jeopardy, this time it genuinely did. And I think Mariah May added to that with the fact that she looked so concerned for both throughout the entire match. But yeah, for me, probably this, I said second or third to match of the night, and there was a lot of quality on this show as well, so I feel like it's a massive compliment to the women. And yeah, hopefully we get Mariah May and Toni Storm at All In, which I feel like will be a huge match and a great way to kind of finish this story off between Mariah and Toni. If not, like, carry it on afterwards and kind of have that resentment for whoever loses or wins at the time. But I feel like if anyone's going to take the title from Toni, it's going to be Mariah May. After that, we had Zack Sabre Jr. defeat Orange Cassidy in what was, again, a very, very good match. Again, like, it wasn't match of the night, but it was very, very good and very up there with the quality on the show. I thought this match lives up to the billing perfectly. I thought the right guy won was Zack Sabre Jr. This is his first win on a Forbidden Door show, and I feel like it's well deserved. He said that he's looking at the G1 Climax now, so I don't know whether he'll be at All In, but I'd love it if he was. I mean, a match again with Danielson would be great, but I don't think it'll be Danielson. I thought the way this match ended with the submission that Zack Sabre Jr. did was very impressive. The fact that Orange Cassidy had to give up literally because he couldn't move. There was no way Orange was getting out of that submission. You know, he had his arms and legs tied up, and he had to do a verbal submission just because he had fucking no way of getting out of it. I'm not sure what is actually next for Orange. I suspect he's probably going to enter into a feud with the Don Callis family, and the stuff with Trent will carry on, because the Don Callis family, I assume, is going to be the group that gets Stadium Stampede for All In, and it just makes sense that it'll be Orange Cassidy's crew of misfits to kind of do it. So I assume it'll be something down the lines of Orange, Kyle O'Reilly, Mark Briscoe, and Ishii, maybe? Because I think my original guess was Shibata, but then he's doing this stuff with Hook. And then it'll be against Don Callis, which is also Takeshita, Hobbs, Trent, and Fletcher. So that's the way I assume it'll be for Stadium Stampede. Maybe I'm wrong, but again, it's pretty much saying what my all-in card I'd like to see match is, other than the case I've got Ishii instead of Shibata. But yeah, I thought this was really good. I'd love to see Zack Sabre Jr. all in just with anybody and anybody. Maybe an international title match with Will Ospreay, that'd be pretty awesome. But yeah, as I said, one of the better matches of the card. I think the right guy won, and yeah, I think more Zack Sabre Jr. AEW would be great, but obviously he wants to concentrate on New Japan at the minute, which is fair enough, I think. But yeah, I thought great match, but I do worry what's next for Orange Cassidy and just kind of the quality drop with him, really. After that, we have the team of Samoa Joe, Hook, and Shibata taking on Chris Jericho, Jeff Cobb, and Big Bill. I thought this was a decent match. Like, it was fine. It kind of felt like a place filler, to be fair, by the time it went on, with like kind of big matches coming on afterwards. But yeah, it was alright. I'd probably say on the show itself, it's probably the weakest match of the night, just because by the time we got to it, I really had no interest in it, and I don't have much interest in going into it in the first place, mainly because I hate Chris Jericho, and I hate this learning tree stuff, and it's ridiculous. But like, I think the one thing in the match that didn't make any sense to me was that Samoa Joe got very little time as a legal competitor in the ring. Like, he had plenty of stuff to do in the match, it's just a lot of it was like in illegally and all that stuff. But I feel like one match that would be great to see on AEW or in New Japan would be Joe versus Cobb. I feel like these two would just beat the absolute shit out of each other. But yeah, I think it was interesting having Hook win with the Judas effect, just because I think it carries that story on. I'm really hoping that Hook and Jericho for the FTW title doesn't happen all in, and it happens on a special Dynamite, because I feel like we have Fyter Fest and Fight for the Fallen coming up at some point before all in, which is why there's no pay-per-view in July. But yeah, I think it'll be a great match, but the match I want at all in is Joe and Jericho, ideally. But I feel like we might get to that point, but I'm not sure. But I think overall the match was fine. But that's all it was just fine. Following that, we had the ladder match for the vacant TNT Championship, which was won by the bastard Jack Perry. No, he's not a bastard, Pac is the bastard, but the scapegoat Jack Perry got the win here over Dante Martin, El Fantasmo, Leo Rush, Konosuke Takeshita, and Mark Briscoe. I thought this was a great ladder match. The only thing that kind of took away from me is that the ladders were suspiciously thin. At least the silver ones were. The black ones were fine and looked like normal ladders, but those silver ladders just looked like they were made of bloody foil. It was really funny. But Leo Rush took an absolute fucking beating in this match. I think he went through half of the silver ladders that were placed out there. Briscoe and El Fantasmo also took absolute beatings in this match. But for me, I think it was the right winner. I feel like, and that's in the predictions, the winners here was either Takeshita or Jack Perry, and Jack Perry being part of the Elite and the Elite having all the championships, it makes perfect sense to have this be the case, even though at some point someone's going to put a title on Takeshita because he fucking needs it and he deserves it. But yeah, I feel like he's going to make a right, I don't even put it, he's just going to be a champion that he's just going to avoid defending at all costs, like the Elite are currently doing. Like, if you think about it, like, Okada's barely defended, so have the Bucks. I feel like it's going to be the case with Jack Perry as well. They're pretty much going to hold the titles hostage. But yeah, as I said, this was really cool. I liked the ladder match. It's not the best ladder match I've seen, but it was solid, to say that. Like, I thought it was interesting having a ladder match so close to Money in the Bank. Like, the week before Money in the Bank, they're going to do a ladder match as well, but yeah, it worked really well, and like, I think the whole point, like, thing is just not to compare them. But yeah, it's a great ladder match. The right guy won, so I've got no complaints there. Following that, we had Mercedes Moné successfully defend the TBS Championship and become the new New Japan Strong Women's World Championship, defeating Stephanie Vaquer in what was a great match. I very much enjoyed it. I felt like it was the second best women's match on the night. I did prefer Tony and Mina Shirakawa, but yeah, this was really good. Stephanie Vaquer looked really good in defeat. I felt like she's got to be signed by AEW at some point in the future once she's up with CMML, because she like has, the way I saw it was like Mercedes Moné is like a girly girl, and we had Vaquer who's like a emo gothic type. But Vaquer has that intimidation factor to her that works really well against someone like Mercedes Moné, who's a bit of a showboat and stuff like that. But yeah, I thought that the kind of, it felt like at the start of the match that like the fans were pretty mutual between the two. But eventually it just turned to everybody turning on Mercedes Moné because of the Boston Celtics and basketball and stuff that I don't watch and don't understand because American sports and stuff. But yeah, I thought, like, watching this match here, Stephanie Vaquer was holding back massively against Lady Frost on Collision last week. But it was a really nice surprise to have on the pay-per-view. I thought she looked really, really good. But yeah, I had no idea who she was when the match was announced. But after doing some research and just looking at stuff on YouTube and then watching the match here, I think she's absolutely fantastic. But yeah, I hope that she returns back to AEW at some point and has some really cool feuds with the likes of like Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale, who like are big hitters, like her to a point, but like not too much. I feel like it would be a good dynamic between like powerhouses of the women's division against Vaquer. And then after the match, while Mercedes Moné is getting all emotional and crying and whatever, and I hate Mercedes Moné, so I didn't really care about it. We saw the return of the Doctor at AEW as Britt Baker made her return. Finally, I have been waiting for Britt Baker to come back for ages, and she's fucking got Mercedes Moné first match or feud back at least. And that is not the way I go, because Mercedes Moné apparently has creative control, so of course she's going to have herself go over Britt Baker in this whole fucking people who aren't AEW originals going over AEW originals all the time. And it just kind of continues Britt Baker. Like, if you look at Britt Baker's record before she went away, it was awful. She was losing nearly every match, and it's going to continue here with Mercedes Moné, because there's no way Moné's putting Baker over. And yeah, which is a shame at one point. I hope the match goes down at All In. Just because I feel like it would be a banger match to have on that card. But if it doesn't, that's fine. But they kind of need a way to get Mercedes Moné to defend, and I feel like this is a massive match and almost a dream match to have on that card. So, as I said, I hope it happens at All In, but I kind of don't, because I don't want to see Baker lose again. And I know that Baker's losing that match because Mercedes Moné is going to be untouchable for months as far as wins and losses go. But as I said, it's going to be a great dream match, and the match definitely was really, really good, and I very much enjoyed it, and I hope that Vaquer comes back at some point to feud with us in AEW. After that, on the penultimate match of the night, we had Tetsuya Naito defeat Jon Moxley to become the new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. I thought this was a great match. I thought it was an absolute brawl from the beginning, which I thought fit the match really well. I didn't see the match they had in New Japan. I felt like it looked as if it was a better match just as far as Moxley bleeding and that goes. But I was surprised. I didn't think they were going to have this title change here, but they did. I'm not sure what this now means for Moxley as far as All In goes, because there's no way they're having Moxley not on All In. So, I mean, maybe he goes for Ospreay. I feel like that'd be a massive, I want to say dream match. It's my dream match, because I haven't seen it, because I didn't see the one they had in New Japan. But yeah, I felt like, you know, I think as far as the match goes, Moxley was getting really frustrated very early in, and Naito was provoking him and like slapping him and spitting at him and stuff. I feel like that ultimately cost him, because he was getting so frustrated that he just wasn't seeing straight, and it would eventually Naito would take advantage of that and get the win. But yeah, as I said, for me, like, I don't watch New Japan regularly, so I haven't seen much of Naito other than, again, at Forbidden Door, and then kind of the few Wrestle Kingdoms I've actually watched. But for me, I just worry for what is next for Moxley and what he's going to do come All In, because obviously if Danielson's going to be in the Owen tournament and win that and go for the world title, it kind of means that Blackpool Combat Club are out as far as a teaming up for Stadium Stampede. Plus, there's no really teams that they haven't faced before to face in Stadium Stampede at All In. So either way, I'm curious to see what happens for Moxley going forward, but hopefully he finds something good to do All In. And finally, in the main event, we had Swerve Strickland defeat and successfully retain the World Championship against Will Ospreay in what was a fantastic match, and undoubtedly was the match of the night. And I don't think there was any doubt what the match of the night was going to be in this one. But for me, like, I mean, only Mercedes Moné throws this around a lot, and obviously Tony Khan. But a lot of people say, like, AEW is where the best wrestle. I don't really agree with that. I think it's where the best wrestling is. but I'd argue WWE is where the best wrestle. But yeah, this just showed it completely. I thought this was an absolutely fantastic match, like from start to finish, like worked perfectly. The chemistry between these two is undeniable. And just the transitions, that kind of reversals and all that stuff that happened, the sequences, I think it happened a couple of times, were fantastic and smooth as butter. But yeah, I love this match completely. Match of the night, I think this is the match of the year candidate, though Ospreay and Takeshita is one hell of a shout to be coming close to that. But yeah, I think as far as All In goes, obviously Ospreay is still the international champion, so I assume that he will be defending that against somebody. I doubt he'll lose it to Daniel Garcia on Dynamite, so I assume he will defend it at All In against somebody. Maybe Zack Sabre Jr., maybe Moxley, maybe Pac, I don't know. But as far as Swerve goes, I want to think that it's going to be him and Danielson at the All In main event, which I think is an absolutely banger match to have. And if anything, it might just put this one to shame. Or not to shame, but like I think it'll be better than this one. But yeah, for me, absolutely fantastic way to end the pay-per-view. And I think Will Ospreay will bounce back from this loss pretty quickly with his match against Daniel Garcia. I can't see him losing that one. So yeah, fantastic way to end what was a really good show. And yeah, Swerve is still world champion. So those are my thoughts and opinions on AEW Forbidden Door 2024. Do put down in the comments what you thought the best match of the night was, what you enjoyed the most about the show, and just anything else, what you think is going to happen at All In, any matches you want to see happen at All In. Are you going to All In? If you do and you see me, come say hello. I don't know if I've got that many subscribers to be able to say that, but you know what I mean. But yeah, I thought this was a great show. I don't think it was the strongest Forbidden Door we've had. I felt like a lot of matches were thrown together, but you know, overall, I said it was a decent show. It was a B-level pay-per-view to, like, it was a B-level pay-per-view to a point where, like, it was nearly A, but not quite. Some questionable stuff happened. Really don't like Mercedes Moné. I don't like the fact that Britt's going to be going after her because you know she's going to lose. And as much as I like Swerve, I would have preferred Ospreay getting the win, but it's fine either way. But yeah, do put down in the comments just anything you thought on the show, anything like that stuff. I'll ask you to like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next video, which will be predictions for Money in the Bank and then predictions for Heatwave later on this week. So yes, a busy weekend for wrestling as far as WWE/NXT goes, but I'll thank you all again for watching. I'll see you guys later.